You know how we think about big enterprise software, right? It's this rigid, concrete block that we install and then, well, we spend the next decade just working around it. But what if that entire way of thinking is just wrong? Let's explore a totally different idea.
I mean, really think about it for a second. What if your main business system wasn't static? What if instead of being outdated the second it goes live, it could actually grow and adapt and mature right along with your business? What would that even look like in practice?
This right here, this idea completely flips the script on how we see enterprise tech. It's the core concept for this whole explainer, that a digital management system, a DMS, isn't some finished product you buy. It's more like a seed that you plant, a seed that then grows into a living, breathing part of your organization.
All right, so let's unpack that. How does a system go from being just a tool to being a genuine living partner in the business?
Well, for this to work, the system has to be like a perfect mirror. It needs to reflect the reality of your company at any given moment. And I'm not just talking about processes. It has to capture what your company knows, what it does, and, crucially, what it values. The bottom line is, as your organization learns and gets smarter, the system has to get smarter right alongside it.
So where do you even start with something like this? You don't try to build this giant, all-knowing system on day one. No way. You start small. You start by planting what we call a digital seed. And that first step has a name: the synthesis stage.
Synthesis is all about creating the minimum viable architecture. And that word minimum is absolutely key here. The goal isn't to boil the ocean and document everything. It's to build just enough of a framework to start making better decisions, to guide planning, and to inform future design. Think of it like building a trellis for a vine. You're just giving it something to start climbing on.
And this initial seed, it contains the unique DNA of your business. It maps out your current structure, your core strategy, your existing systems, and maybe most importantly, it starts to pull in the organizational knowledge that's usually just stuck inside people's heads. This is the starting point for creating that one coherent system that can finally replace all that software sprawl. It's the very beginning of this new living thing.
Okay, so we've planted the seed. Now what? How does it actually grow? Well, the growth isn't random. It follows three very specific, parallel paths that lead it towards maturity. And these are the three tracks: capabilities, objectives, and knowledge. You can think of them as the three main branches that sprout from that initial seed. Each one develops and strengthens the organization in a totally different but equally important way. The first path, capabilities realization, is all about the how. How does your organization actually get work done? As you start to clearly define your workflows and business processes, you're not just making documents. You're building the literal foundation that lets the system intelligently track work and, down the line, even automate parts of it. The second path, objectives realization, gets at the why. This is where your high-level strategy gets connected to the actual work people are doing every single day. The big goals get broken down into concrete actions. And the system becomes this living canvas where you can actually see in real time how today's work is moving the needle on your biggest goals. And this third path, knowledge realization, this one is a real game changer. This is all about capturing the expertise of your people. As your teams work, their insights, their aha moments, their successful recipes, they all get captured and structured by the system. This turns individual genius into reusable, system-wide playbooks. The system itself actually starts coaching people, and it gets better and better at it over time. So what's the engine driving all this constant growth and learning? It isn't magic. It's a kind of collaborative brain, a true partnership between AI agents and human insight.
And it's a real two-way street. Your people are on the front lines, running the business, figuring out what works, and providing that irreplaceable human wisdom. At the same time, you have AI agents working right alongside them, spotting patterns in the data, suggesting better workflows, and helping build out the structure of the system itself. It's a powerful feedback loop.
So, when you bring all of this together, when you have this growing learning system, what do you actually get? What's the end game here? Well, the ultimate goal is to create what we can call a truly adaptive enterprise. The result is an organization that's just better.
It becomes more coherent because everyone is finally working from the same playbook instead of a dozen different apps. It becomes way more adaptive, able to pivot and react to change in near real time. And because of those two things, it becomes far, far more capable of actually delivering on its strategy.
And it really all comes back to this one powerful idea. You achieve this kind of agility, this kind of coherence, through systems that are designed from the ground up to learn, right as the business itself is learning.
So, I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Take a hard look at the core systems running your own organization. Are they actively learning and getting smarter every single day? Or are they just getting older?